So let's talk about how I manipulate you. Since I'm such a master at manipulating, I said just as well to bring the kindness that I'm capable of and let you see a little bit of insight in how I manipulate the world to my benefit, of course. This might sound a little bit psychopathic or selfish or even cheesy because I was trying to make a joke, but at the same time it's not a joke. But it's true. It is true. I do manipulate the world. I do manipulate you as well to my benefits. I assume the only difference between me and a psychopath is that I don't go as far as doing it with any price, regardless of the consequences to other people. What impact my manipulation has towards you. But other than that, I do that. And why do I do it? Well, all women do it. But today I'm going to talk about myself because I have knowledge only about how I do it. If you watch my content before, you do know that I do tend to guide myself in the world based on the Enneagram of Personality. That I think it's absolutely amazing tool, and it has helped me tremendously in life and make sense of why I react the way I react to the world and why the world reacts how the way it reacts. Okay, so I'm not making a mess out of this. It's basically you are born with a character. That doesn't mean you are that character, but you have tendencies to react in a particular way and you have less tendencies to react in another way. That doesn't say that if you're born a particular character, you can't react the way all the other characters are reacting. You are, but you overall you will have your tendency of reactivity and the way you stress in the world. I am a 4 character with a 5 wing, so I'm going to leave it to that because this is not about Enneagram. It's about how I manipulate the world as a 4 character type and a woman. When I say manipulate, even though it sounds like such a bad word, we already know that that's what women do in order to survive. Because I'm not able to fight, so thus I have to find a way to survive in this world and also basically get things out of the world that will benefit me or help me navigate this existence as a woman or in a woman's body, let's say. All women have this tendency because we can't fight because our biology is not to dominate and also assert ourselves physically in the world. So you have to have a way of getting out of things, getting out of responsibility, getting out of danger, and yeah, just basically get the world to give you stuff because most of the time you're not going to be able to see a thing and just go and get it without any threats, if you will. So you have to kind of make your way out to that thing. I hope that made sense. I tend to manipulate through my image. So despite all the negotiation books I read in order to scale my manipulation techniques, I do manipulate the world through my appearance and obviously through being agreeable and being nice and sweet and all that stuff. So I'm going to give you a real example of what happened. I was overweight with my luggage and I didn't want to get charged. I didn't want to pay the fees that I was going to get charged. So I was thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to avoid not throwing my stuff away and also not getting charged? I have a way of talking that it's really set up, as in there are particular sentences that I'm saying in order to basically negotiate you out of a situation to have like a better outcome, let's say. So I do have text and phrases that I'm using depending on the circumstances. So I have a note. I follow that in case I forget or anything. So I have that aside. I'm also trying to identify the person I'm going to talk to. So I'm sitting back and I'm scanning. Like for example, I was scanning the desks. So there were like 10 desks with people that they were helping you check in the plane. So I was trying to scan them and using the Enneagram of Personality as a tool to try and identify the types these people were, because I know a little bit from every type how they react, and also I know about what they like to hear and what their ego focuses on. So I was using that in my advantage. And I also know what character types don't like my type, as in my way of being as a type doesn't resonate with their, like it goes against that. So I'm trying to avoid all those people when I was dealing with that situation. And in general, I do the same. Depending on one's character, I look at something that they put effort in. And in this particular example, it was the girl focused on her image. Of course, every woman's going to be focused on her image, but she was over focusing on her image because I diagnosed her as an image type. So I made a compliment about her appearance. I really understand that people have to like you first in order to do something for you. Obviously, it doesn't work all the time. Not all people like me. But even if they don't like me, when they see me, I make sure to say something about them that it will make them feel good. And because I have a problem with being authentic and genuine, I do try and look for something that I really enjoy about them, because I just don't like being not genuine. Like when I do a compliment, even though I do it in order to get something out of this person, I want to do it honestly, like I'm genuinely, because I feel otherwise I come across phony, if that makes any sense. It's important to find out their name, because most of the time people are in a rush, and more often than not, no one cares who they're dealing with. So that helps me stand out from the crowd, if you will. I either pay attention what's writing on their tag, or however you call it, or I make sure to ask about the name. It's not as simple as using some phrases from a book and being able to manipulate and so on and so forth. I think the 80% of this thing, it's like the way I'm being genuinely with what the world has to offer me. You'll feel the sense of entitlement because I'm a woman, but I try as much as I can to not be arrogant, as in feel entitled as long as I give something in return, as in, like I said, make this person's day better. As in, that's why I said I'm looking for something genuine to say about them, and not just being a liar and to get something out of them because I need it. That's what I used to do before. And I felt entitled before, and also I was getting angry when I was not getting what I wanted from the world. Another thing is how I manipulate men. Two types of manipulation when I manipulate men. It's either to have them like me, or to get out of feel a danger zone with a man. Like if I feel threatened, I have to manipulate my way out, because I can't get confrontational with a man. That's not a good idea. It's natural to feel that's not a good idea. You're not meant to get confrontational with men, for obvious reasons. Start with when I manipulate men to like me. Why do I do that? Well, I do that because I want approval and attention. It feels like a validation that as a woman am worth it. Not sure if I use the right words, but it's something along those lines. Proves me that I'm still valued in the sexual marketplace. If you're a woke feminist, you would think that I'm in the brain and I need to go to therapy. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that is natural. I think women should care if they are valued in the sexual marketplace. I think women should care about what men think about their appearances and so on and so forth. It's natural. It's evolution. It's about getting laid, and it's about, since I'm a woman and this is what I have to offer in an evolutionary way of speaking, I'm okay with that. So how do I manipulate men? Well, again, something that has to do with agreeability and being as sweet as possible. Obviously, once you get into a relationship with me, I am not the sweet person I was before you met me. And you might feel betrayed, and that is normal, and I would feel betrayed as well if I would be you. So why do I do that? Or why do women do that? Well, it's like a marketing thing. I want to sell myself the best I can. Obviously, if you're a product and then you try the product and you're really disappointed, you want a refund. The discrepancy between your marketing as a woman and then what you behave like when you're in a relationship should not be that big, because otherwise people will not put up with you. It should be something decent. Just because I cannot show you my flaws in the first date. Majority of people, not all people, are lying about themselves quite a significant amount of percentage in their first date. That explains why, because of course we want to be perceived as best as possible if we like someone. Obviously, if you like someone and you want them to like you as well. Okay, so once you have a relationship as a woman, you are not doing that, right? Because you already got your prize and you're not going to do that. Well, that's wrong. And that's because always at the back of my mind, what if something happens with my current partner? What am I going to do? Like, I can't risk to be left without resources and without a man to protect me. That's why women always, even though they are in a relationship, they don't give up for good trying to get the attention of other men. Like, I want to be seen in order for the world to know that I exist in case I'm losing what I have now, so I can pop in and make myself available again. Because a woman's youth and beauty has such a short span, I can't risk to get into a relationship and then hide myself from the world, and then if something happens after 5-10 years, let's say, of marriage, come back into the world and try to invest time in making myself known and seen again, because that takes time and I don't have time anymore. I see women, even though they're married and so on and so forth, still put themselves out there in order to, hey, here's me, look at me, stuff like that. I would categorize that as manipulation because it's selling that, I'm something better than I am. And also because you can't be in a relationship all the time, 24/7, the way you portray yourself on social media. That's not how it works. You just can't, because that is one episode from your life. What I show on social media, like I told you in my community post as well, that's how I look in one photo, from one angle, with one type of light, and then I apply on top the correction and all that stuff. That is me, because I haven't just changed my nose and everything else. I didn't go that far. That is me, but at the same time, that's not how I am all day. So that's why I call it manipulation, because you kind of manipulate, or you kind of organize events in a way that will make you look good. That's what I mean by manipulation. And the second example, how I manipulate men when I feel endangered, similar with agreeability and making yourself liked and all that stuff, and not being confrontational. I am an emotional type. I tend to survive and gauge myself and navigate through life based on emotions. Like, I try to suck as much emotions as I can from the environment in order to gauge myself and navigate it. I don't know if that makes any sense. So I give you one example that comes to mind now. I traveled again and I was alone. It was winter and I arrived. First time when I was there, I was on my own. I had the map. My battery was running out. It was winter. It wasn't that late. I think it was 8 o'clock in the evening. So it wasn't that late, but it was winter. It was a country that I didn't know, that I don't speak the language, and I was really tired. I had to get to my Airbnb. If I'm not mistaken, it was also weekend, so there were a lot of people on the street, which that's a good point when you're a woman and you're alone in an unknown place. It's good when there are people on the street, but at the same time, they were drunk or drugged, and it was a mixed match, and it was also dark. I remember walking with my phone, and then I was also trying to not appear like so much as a tourist, but just someone that comes back home, if you will, but also like I couldn't mask the fact that I was on Google Maps and I didn't know what I was going, and I was tired, and I was trying to gauge myself to feel the vibe and the energy on that street, which was dark and noisy, but it was kind of dodgy, like, I don't know, like it felt not right. A woman, perhaps that's why you're so wired with your intuitions, because things can feel not right. Feel when you're being watched, and you feel when you're being watched not in a good way, if you will. It's different when men look at you because they like you, or they look at you that they see you as a potential, I don't know, yeah, anyway, trying to stay alert with what's happening on the street and stay aware and make sure I hear everything behind me and in front of me. You're also try to read the person emotionally, with emotions, as in, are they angry? Are they sweating? Are they breathing hard? Or you can feel like someone's anxiety, or the way he moves when he's around me, are his hands in the pocket? It's, all that body language and all that stuff. You're just continually scanning all that to see where are you and are his intentions. Is he a bit of a nerd and he's not good with women, so he gets nervous, or he's really weird? Obviously, I'm not saying I am so supernatural and I'm able to gauge that. Obviously, I accept and I am aware that I can be easily fooled by someone that is a pro, but doesn't mean I'm not doing whatever I can in order to see in what kind of situation I'm being presented with, if that makes any sense. So I think I left some points uncovered. I could expand on the backup plan of a woman, so I could definitely have something to talk about that. I know there are plenty of women that give advice to men and all that stuff. Most of it is crap, as in, I had to learn about a woman's way of being and reactivity from a man. So I'm not sure if this is a good thing to do, as in you should learn from me and stuff like that. I'm being a hypocrite because, like I said, I haven't learned this from women. I have learned this from men. So I don't know what you're going to do with this content. It's up to you if you think it's anything to learn from or you think nonsense. Obviously, don't go along with everything I say. That's not the point. That's not healthy either. It's not because I'm trying to manipulate you again or anything. It's just because my experience and judgment is flawed, and also my awareness is incomplete like every other person. So, I don't know what I'm doing. Thank you so much for your time and attention, like always. I hope you're well, and if you want me to talk about anything else, just drop me an email or a comment or whatever is easier for you. And yeah, until next time, see ya. Nice to see you. It's been ages. Didn't have the time to record, but I figured it's such a nice day and I said, why not? I can't feel my right leg.